You know, I can remember back in the day when I was living in Tennessee and outdoor programming was first getting a start. There were a couple people early on that were reaching out to these remote destinations in South America. They were fishing the jungle. There's something about the jungle that's just, it draws you in. It's the forest, it's the species, it's the wildlife, it's the remoteness of it all. For a really, really long time, it's all I could think about.
So you were saying that the importance of Tefe is that the two major rivers are coming together here.
Yeah, here we have the Solimões River, that's the Amazon River, and then the Japura River that flows on the west side, and the headwaters are in Colombia.
You know, as you move into a jungle, there's got to be a dropping off point somewhere. And for us, it's Manaus. And Manaus is at the confluence of two of the biggest rivers in the Amazon.
So these two important rivers, they have their junction in Mamirawa Reserve, where we're going now.
Yes. And Manaus is the gateway into some of the most remote wilderness in the world.
So the fishing in the river done with hook and line, or they net most of it? The commercial guys, what do they?
They do half and half.
Half and half.
Some fish, they only catch on the hand line, especially the big catfish, they use hand line.
As I move deeper and deeper and deeper into the jungle and find these little communities on the side of the riverbank, I'm really curious why they're there. What is it that brought them there? How long have they been there?
It's the beginning of the reserve, is the south side of the reserve, on this shore.
This shoreline here?
Yeah. It's the south side of the Mamirawa Reserve.
Wow.
Here we are.
You know, the Amazon is huge. And the diversity in the Amazon, from animals, plants, birds, and fish are no different. There are hundreds and hundreds of species of fish in the Amazon. Years ago, when I was exploring jungle opportunities, I came across a photo of a guy in the water holding this Arapaima. And at that time I said, I've got to catch one of these fish.
So we're mainly throwing to rolling fish. That's what the objective is?
Yeah, but that do not mean that we'll catch that fish.
That fish.
We are looking for higher concentrations of rolling fish.
The Arapaima is a pretty unique fish. Not only is it the largest scaled freshwater fish in the world, but they're air breathers. And they take as much as 80% of the oxygen they use comes from the air.
We see that it's happy fish, they're rolling together, all together at the same time. And then they are hunting.
They are bottom dwellers, they live on the bottom. You know, we got up in these different channels or small lake systems where these fish have been congregating in a pre-spawn mode. It was amazing to the eye how many fish are living in this preserve.
Well, the ones that I see down this channel right now are giant Arapaimas.
During the regular part of their season here, the standard setup is in the shallower ponds where the juveniles are spending the majority of their time. They're fishing 9 weights and 10 weights with a floating line or maybe an intermediate line. Most of the water is kind of 5 to 7 feet deep.
When you see the end of the row, sometimes you see their tail, and then you can predict how deep they will go, because sometimes they really roll deep. But the thing is, these fish do not turn their heads. They just keep moving towards you. So you need to keep stripping, and you feel that it's something, grab it, and you need really to hook hard. And it turns with your body and confirm a couple of times.
They are ambush predators. They're waiting for something to come in their strike zone. And then a quick burst of speed and the huge flare of its mouth, and it sucks their prey in.
Got him. Got him, man. Rodrigo! Nice job, buddy.
During low water conditions, that's really a great time to fish because all the fish are congregated in smaller areas.
Soltou.
Gone.
Gone. Tem quase. Soltou.
The Obsession of Carter Andrews is brought to you by Yeti Coolers, built for the wild. Mercury Marine, go boldly. Yozuri, fish the best. Costa, see what's out there. And by Shimano.
All right, so this is our first morning fish. You know, there are quite a few people and operations that have been exploring the jungle. You know, and that little gold flash in this dark water, I mean, it really shows up. When I see all the bait fish around the lodge, you see that gold color.
They're flashing.
There's a new group of anglers, of outfitters that are doing it with fly rods. And Untamed Angling has a couple really, really unique destinations from Bolivia to Brazil.
We'll drift and see if we can see big fish rolling.
Rodrigo Salas is one of the partners at Untamed Angling.
As the wind is in this direction, we go drifting.
Rodrigo has had the angling bug since he was a child and used to travel, you know, to the Pantanal Marsh and fish with his grandfather when he was a little boy. I mean, so now we're in kind of the main part of the river. This is, you call this one the lake.
Yeah.
And this is, what do you think, 30 feet deep?
Yeah, 30 to 40 feet deep.
30 to 40 feet. I'm fishing a 450 grain 30-foot sinking tip. Since these fish are air breathers and every 20 minutes they're rolling and coming up, they're showing themselves. The idea of taking one on a fly for me, I'm just incredibly excited. Here's the opportunity to sight cast to a rolling fish, present my fly in front of it, and hope for success. Arapaima is a species that has just recently kind of emerged to us as anglers, foreign anglers. Sure, they've been fishing it traditionally in the Amazon for years and years and years, but it's just been coming on our radar recently. Changing flies, changing locations. There were a lot of fish in this little lagoon here. We just didn't get bit. You know, they say the muskie is the fish of 1,000 casts, but I think that this Arapaima is one of the hardest fish I've ever fished for, without a doubt. As an angler, I am looking for the best tackle or the best technique to catch fish under whatever conditions I'm faced with. And I'm quickly realizing that fly fishing might not be my best option here. I'm gonna try this jig, this hoagie. It's got the right hook, you see that? That's the Barbarian. I feel good about it because I can also cover, you know, 2 or 3 times as much water as I am with the fly. So I'm moving away from the fly, and I'm going to fish more effectively and stay in that strike zone for a longer period of time. You know, the other thing that I'm realizing about the Arapaima
is there really isn't a lot of people that have fished for them, so there isn't a lot known about them and how they respond to lures or to flies. One thing that I do know for sure is they don't chase your bait down. It's literally got to be right in their face.
Yep. Yeah, my friend. Hooks, hook. You
Coming
made
up.
it right.
Woo! Yeah! Wow! Look at this truck. Watch, here he comes. Wow, look at this thing, man. Woo!
We're going to the other side, in the tip of the lake, so we can land this fish.
Rodrigo and Marcelo have done a great job of finding some of the best fisheries for these specific species. This is an eco lodge. It's a catch and release fishery.
Look at that.
Yeah, my friend.
Thank you.
You made it.
Huh?
You made
Look
it.
at that.
It's a beauty.
They're in deep water. We had to go to. I had
Yeah.
to go to the jig, man. We just
Yeah.
couldn't get that bite.
I like to catch my fish, I like to look at them, I like to put them back in the water, and I like to release them.
Gone.
Well done, man.
Jungle anglers. Thank you guys. Wow.
You know, everybody knows the Amazon is a rainforest. It rains in a rainforest. And when it rains, all that water runs down into a river. And that river fluctuates. And it may rain for 6 months. We're struggling with the depth of water. Instead of 15 feet, we're dealing with 30 feet of water.
All I keep envisioning as we're casting those flies, even because we're throwing big flies, heavy lines, we make an 80-foot cast, and as that fly sinks and the line's pulling it down, it's getting closer to us as it's coming down, and we're really only in the strike zone of those fish for such a minimal amount of time.
This is the conditions we should use something different. And I've been fishing on the fly here since 3 years. And with this high water conditions, it's really tough. So we need to think about.
But typically y'all catch some giants on fly.
We always catch some giants on
Catch
fly.
Giants on fly, man.
Just because this area floods during the rainy season doesn't stop these indigenous people from fishing. On our way into Mamitawa, the first day, we're going by one of the 15 indigenous communities that are a part of this preserve. And Rodrigo said, hey, I want you to meet probably one of the most talented fishermen in all of these villages.
Esse é meu amigo Carter, que a gente veio fazer programa de televisão aí de
Okay, big
pesca.
man.
You know, what an experience. I love to get to know the people wherever I am. We started talking about the traditional ways of fishing. He's not using hook and line to get his fish. He harpoons them. This guy is gonna harpoon an Arapaima. This is something I've got to see.
Thank you for coming today. I'm looking forward to seeing this. Thank you. This is the traditional way. They've done it for years and years and years. And what I'm amazed about is these spears, or, you know, this is similar to our harpoon, and the weight of this wood is unbelievable. But that's to help penetrate, you know, that hard skin of the Arapaima.
I can't imagine harpooning a fish that when it rolls, it's only on the surface for a glimpse.
This is gonna be something else.
We were warned before he got started. He didn't want us close to him. He doesn't want us making a noise. He didn't even want us talking.
I mean, I just saw a fish roll in front of him and see how he's backing off of it.
So he saw that fish, he knows it's there.
These fishermen have learned through time that the Arapaima will come up and breathe and go back down to the bottom. And most of the time, they stay in the same place.
One hand on the paddle, just kind of feathering it, keeping himself in place.
A fish rolled, he immediately looked at his watch. He's timing that fish.
The big fish, it's under the grass, and I'll be tough.
He set himself up to be 30 feet, 40 feet from where that fish would roll again, and he held the canoe there, just gently holding himself in the same position.
Yep, you got it.
Look at this. Look at all the bubbles where he's kicking around on the bottom. Unbelievable. I mean, that must have been, 30 yards.
This guy is old school, man. The indigenous people, these people rely on fishing, and they're the experts at it in their area.
Witnessing what they've been doing for hundreds and hundreds of years. This isn't only going to feed his family, it's going to feed the entire village. They get to take a couple fish a year from the reserve. We're all anglers, and this is just part of it. This is how they live, subsistence fishing for themselves, and I don't know, that's amazing. I can appreciate that more than anybody.
The reward at the end of the day is sharing that fish with each other. And Poliano invited us back to his house to share that experience, to eat with his family.
The belly, the best.
Not only is an Arapaima one of the greatest food fish in the entire Amazon, it's probably my favorite freshwater fish I've ever eaten.
It's unbelievable.
This guy is a master.
The Obsession of Carter Andrews is brought to you by CV Boats. Lead the way. Cuda Fishing Tools. Fierce, tough, proven. Ray Marine. Simply superior. Traeger Wood-Fired Grills. Taste the wood-fired difference. And by TH Marine. Additional support provided by the following brands.
I'm here, at the beginning of the rainy season?
Yeah, we are in the rainforest. That's something unpredictable in the jungle.
We've had rain, we have high water, conditions are getting tougher. I know that I need to change my technique if I'm gonna succeed.
Look at them in here. I love setting the hook on these fish. I mean, it really feels like a log when you set. I mean, you get that thump, and it's such a solid hook set.
I'm gonna fish a 2-ounce jig in 30 feet of water and visualize that swimming in the bottom right in the strike zone.
He's on! Golly, man. Smoking me. Rodrigo,
I'm coming.
I made the cast in there.
Yep.
And I had the spool open, letting it sink.
Yep.
And I felt the thump with the spool open.
With the spool open.
With the spool open.
Getting down the bait.
Yep.
You know, if you're patient and you watch around you,
It feels really heavy.
you watch the environment these fish are living in, you start to learn some things.
Oh, it's a giant. Still coming up. He's gonna breathe right now. Oh. It's a monster fish.
One of the things that I enjoy about these fishing adventures,
I mean, it's huge.
some of these destinations that I go to, and I'm fishing for a species that I'm not that familiar with.
Gonna jump here. Here's the leader, here he comes. Woo! Unbelievable. This is a true jungle giant, man. This is why I came down to hang out with you guys.
Don't get me wrong, I would have loved to have caught a giant fish the first day, but this was even more rewarding because I went through a process. I went through a learning process.
What an amazing fish. You know, to find things like this still living in the jungle is an experience. It's hard to explain. My fish is so big, it's taken 3 guys to land him.
That's your fish.
Golly! Huh? Look where he's hooked. Look.
Yeah. Woo!
I took all the information from the people around me, from the environment, and the last day it comes together with one of the greatest fish catches I've ever had.
Look at that. Look at this. What a beautiful fish.
You know, being able to come and experience Untamed Angling's philosophy and how they work with these indigenous people.
Look, he just breathed. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Dude, come here. Thank you. I feel the spirit. Kah! The spirit of the jungle. Unbelievable. Thanks, everybody.
From the indigenous people to the fishery to the services and the guest, that's something I will not soon forget.